At 82, she thought no one cared. Until a knock on the door. Eleanor Mitchell sat by the window of her small, quiet home in Ohio, watching as the golden leaves of October danced in the wind. The world outside was moving, changing, living, but inside, time had stilled. Her days were long, filled with silence and memories. Her husband had passed away 6 years ago, her only daughter lived 3 states away and rarely called, and most of her friends had either moved to assisted living or passed on. At 82, Eleanor felt like a faded photograph, once cherished, now forgotten. It had been weeks since anyone had knocked on her door. Even the mailman just left letters in the box without a wave. That morning, Eleanor had struggled to get out of bed. Her arthritis flared painfully, and the chill in the house seeped into her bones. She shuffled to the kitchen, made a cup of weak tea, and sat alone, listening to the ticking of the clock. "Does anyone even remember I'm here?" she whispered aloud. Her voice, small and scratchy from disuse, sounded like it belonged to a stranger. She brushed away a tear that had escaped down her cheek. It wasn't just the loneliness, it was the feeling of being invisible. Then, at precisely 11:14 a.m., came a knock on the door. Startled, Eleanor froze. Her heart beat faster. Was it a mistake? A package for a neighbor? Cautiously, she reached for her walker and made her way to the front door. She opened it slowly, revealing a young woman with kind eyes and a nervous smile. She couldn't have been more than 30. Behind her stood a little boy, maybe 6, holding a small potted plant wrapped in tissue paper. "Hello," the woman said warmly. "You don't know me, but I'm Emma. My son Max and I live 3 houses down. We're doing something called Neighbor November, just little acts of kindness for people in our community. We thought we'd stop by and say hello." Eleanor blinked. She looked down at the boy, who held out the plant with 2 small hands. "It's a chrysanthemum," he said proudly. "My grandma says they're happy flowers." Her lips trembled as she reached for it. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice cracking. She hadn't received a gift in years. Would you like to come in for a moment?" Emma smiled. "We'd love to." Inside, something remarkable happened. Eleanor found herself talking, really talking, for the first time in months. She told them about her late husband's love for jazz, about the pies she used to bake for church socials, about the garden she once kept. Max listened with wide eyes, asking questions only a child would think to ask, like whether her house had ghosts or if she'd ever seen a dinosaur. Eleanor laughed, a full, rich sound that startled even herself. Before they left, Emma reached into her bag and handed Eleanor a hand-drawn calendar. "Max and I made this. Each day has a little kindness challenge. But here's the twist, we want you to be part of it too. If you're up for it, we can visit every Friday. You can tell us stories, and maybe we can help each other." Eleanor held the calendar as if it were something precious. "I'd like that very much." That evening, Eleanor didn't sit by the window. Instead, she pulled out a dusty recipe book and began writing a list, ingredients for her famous apple pie. She'd ask Emma to help her shop. The thought of baking again, of having people to share it with, sparked something inside her she thought had long gone out. The knock on the door hadn't just brought a flower or conversation, it had cracked open the door of her heart. In that moment, Eleanor realized something profound. Sometimes, all it takes to remind someone they matter is a simple act of kindness, freely given. She was no longer invisible. She was seen. Heard. Remembered. And for the first time in a long while, Eleanor felt hope blooming, just like that little chrysanthemum on her windowsill.